Wow.
I don't kind of even want to be close to that right now with it being that much tension. What's up, everybody? Today is a fun day, not so much a work day. It's like 10 or 15 degrees out, even though the sun is shining. It's a little brisk for tree work. So we're doing a little bit of experimenting and trying different things. I've got somebody from another YouTube channel. I think you'll enjoy seeing him here. And we're just gonna do some experiments and see what we come up with. As you saw in the thumbnail, we got a bunch of different friction devices out here. We added up the value of them and we came just shy of $10,000 worth of rigging brakes and friction devices, winches, all that kind of stuff. We thought it would be great to share this collection of things with you guys. Very few single individuals have that much stuff to compare all in one setting. So we thought we'd put our heads together and show you what we got. So that way you can kind of decide what you think will work best for the work that you want to do. So as many of you know, I'm a contract climber and I spend most of my time doing tree work up in the trees. And so to do a video like this, I really need to bring in somebody who had more experience on the ground, somebody who had more experience running the stuff on the ground and doing all the friction brakes and that kind of thing. So I'd like to present to you Ground Pounder and Ethan Mini Pounder.
How's it going, guys? How you doing?
So some of you might have seen Ground Pounder's comments in the comment section on the channel. He's got his own YouTube channel. We'll put a link to it in the description below. You can check out his stuff. But let me show you what we're gonna get into today and how we're gonna kind of try these units out for you. Our setup here is we're gonna use a GRCS to lift a log up into the tree. Once we've got that log up in the tree, we're gonna take a rigging rope that's also tied to the log and put it on one of our many friction devices here. I'm going to take the rope off of this so that way all the load is on the device, and then we're going to let the piece sail with the rope on the device. I think that's going to do a decent job of mimicking like a negative rigging scenario or something like that. And we're going to let the ropes run through the devices, and you can see how each one of them gets set up and also how the rope runs and et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be great. Just hang in there with me for a little bit. So with that, let me get the first piece up in the tree and we'll run the rope on that giant porter wrap you just saw. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer a load onto your rope there, GP. Okay, it's all on you. I'm gonna unwrap this, get it out of the way. Oh, very nice. Well, as you saw there, our tow haul line, the line that we used to lift up, wanted to intermingle with our friction device, and so we added a block here to avoid that happening again because we just didn't like that. But I want to talk about this thing. Tell me about this, GP. What is going on? This doesn't look like something I can buy somewhere.
No, it's not. A good friend of mine made this porter wrap here for me, and it's all stainless steel. It's all TIG welded, everything like that. I did not like the looks of the factory porter wraps right from the beginning, so I decided I needed something a little beefier than that. And this is what we come up with.
That's a champion of a device. I don't know. Is this thing, do you know how long it is from here to here? I mean, is it?
I don't, honestly.
It's got to be like 14 inches or something.
Say that's got to be every bit of a foot. And this is a 2.5 inch diameter through 3-inch tube, I do believe.
Yeah, and everything's gusseted with more rod and everything. And
that's a one-off custom just for Ground Pounder right there, man.
That's awesome. That is pretty sweet. All right, we're gonna stick another piece of equipment on the tree here and we'll get that thing set up to run. All right, we got our next device up on a tree here. Tell me about this Ground Pounder. I'm not familiar with this thing.
This here is a GB bollard made by a good friend of mine, Greg Brown, over in Wisconsin. This particular one is the 4-pin model. You got different variations of where you want to put your rope, and it's also stainless steel.
All right, can you go ahead and show me how you like to run the rope on this device? I could guess and probably get close, but I don't know.
Sure. So I got the fair leads up here just to keep it in there, and it don't really matter. It's ambidextrous. You can go on that side, you can go on the other side. Don't really matter, whatever you would prefer. You can go ahead and sweat your rope like so. Pick where you want it to be. go from there.
Wow. Okay. So a lot of adjustability and friction then.
Absolutely. We can, here, or so on.
Okay. Okay. So being ambidextrous, like you said, being able to go either direction, does that help you deal with hockles just like on a porter wrap?
I noticed if this don't really hockle it like a porter wrap does, the bollard, you pretty much eliminates all the hockling like that. But in the godforsaken event that you do have some hockling on it, you could reverse it like that.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. Well, this looks like this will be fun to watch go. Let's set the cameras up and run it through the paces.
Yeah.
Greg Brown makes another one of these. It's a slightly more cost-effective version with less bars on it. It's also got an aluminum bollard, and it's a little bit different construction, but pretty nifty, pretty similar, just a little bit simpler. Here's our next device we have set up here. It's another one of Greg Brown's bollards. Go ahead and tell us about this one.
So this one we got labeled as the GB3000. It has the winch right here. This is what we call our little chicken catcher. And the only thing this is for, guys, is I put a swabish on the line, run it up there, and then that allows you to go ahead and start pre-tension in your line. This one, we don't have the rope fair leads on the front. And as you can see, this will allow you to sweat your line. And also start lifting stuff once you get to a point where you want to start raising it back up. You of course got to run this thing back out, run it back up, and then repeat the process.
Well, there we go. You can lift that log theoretically all the way to the top of this tree if you want to, and I'm sure that if you really got down to it, you could probably be pretty productive with the cycle of loading the winch and then loading the bollard. We're gonna go ahead and slap the next device on here. This bollard would run just like the last one we showed you, so we'll move on to the next one here next. So the next device we're gonna try and show here for you is the Jailbreak. This is a mini Jailbreak. They've got a larger version with 2 extra bollards on it. I don't know about that one. I don't have access to that one. I had to bum this off of a friend of mine. But this thing is supposed to be easier than a porter wrap to use. And there's a bunch of other stuff out there about it. I didn't exactly do a ton of research. I just got my hands on it because I wanted to show it to you guys. So basically it works by weaving the rope around these bollards to develop friction. And you can choose, how many bollards you want to use for how much friction you need. There's a midline attachment point here for the sling of the tree. There's also an upper and lower if you wanted to put extra stuff on it to hold it in the correct orientation or something like that. The rope goes through it by going through the top fair lead first. There we go. Then you can go either way around the bollards. I'm started this direction, so I'll go this way, and then you can weave it back and forth, come all around the bottom bollard, and then out the bottom fair lead. I'm not sure how to judge how much friction we need or anything like that, so we'll just have to experiment a little bit to try it out. Up she goes. Well, that was Ground Pattern's first time running a Jailbreak and my first exposure to it as well. What did you think about it?
To be honest with you, I don't really care for it myself. I don't find it to be easier than a porter wrap. I don't see how it could possibly be easier than a porter wrap when we have so many choices here to be made. I'm not a fan of the flopping around. I'm not sure how am I supposed to sweat the line. I just find it to be more confusing than anything to me, boss.
Okay. Did you feel like you had control of the rope inside the device at least once we were all set up? I mean,
yeah,
setup was hard.
I felt like I had a fair control of it once we had it set up, and I got through the learning curve of how to sweat the rope and get it in these speed 2 coils here.
Fancy coils. Okay, okay. Well, I mean, maybe with some time we'll get better at this thing. I don't know. We'll have to see. Time will tell. The next device up on the docket here is something I am familiar with and I've seen lots about on the internet, but I've never used. Tell us all about this thing.
So this thing right here is a Hobs H2, and it's a lowering device primarily, but it can be used for tensioning. You know, you can go ahead and get your wraps on it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So from there, you know, we can pre-tension your line, and if you really want to get it nice and tight, go ahead and take yourself a couple wraps on it. I made this is a modification made by me, not by Hobbs. And then you can start to pre-tension your line. And in essence, lift things with it as well. There you go.
We're gonna go ahead and lift this log up with the GRCS and drop it on the Hobbs like we've been doing with everything else. Transferring load. All good. Oh man, perfect. All right, the last thing we want to do to compare some of these devices is we want to see how much they can pull. The Hobbs, the GRCS, and that bollard that we tried earlier all have the ability to do some pulling. We just want to see what their maximum pull power is. So we've got a load cell set up here. We're gonna have ground pounder go ahead and start cranking on the Hobbs, and we'll see what numbers we reach. Oh, it's talking. Oh, it's sliding a little. One more. All right, that's one-handed, right?
That's one-handed.
Okay, what'd she say?
2,644 pounds.
Wow, 2,600 and change. That's incredible.
That's pretty impressive, man.
That is. I think that's probably going to beat the GRCS, but we'll try it just to find out. That's wild. I think that's because this drum diameter is small and the handle's way bigger than the one on the GRCS. GRCS has gear reduction, but I think it's just the sheer difference in diameter and the lever arm here is what is contributing largely to how much force you can develop there. You're allowed to put more than one person on this too, aren't you?
So this is an adaptation that I've made right here. The Hobbs comes with a bar that comes in here, so this is just something that I've done.
Okay, so you're kind of already taking advantage of being able to do more than what one man can do in a way.
Absolutely.
Okay. Wow, still 2,600 pounds. That's a lot of tree limb. That's a lot. We were thinking if ground pounder pulls down on the ratchet rather than up, we might be able to get more. So we got Ethan tending the rope. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's it.
Look at that number. Look at that number and tell me what it says. What's it say, ground pounder?
Crap,
What's it say?
3,998 pounds. You can get to 4,000. Wow.
You probably could get to 4,000, but I don't kind of even want to be close to that right now with it being that much tension. That's wild. I am never going to get that bowline out of that rope. That's for sure. That's incredible. I don't think you could produce that force over a long distance because you just wear yourself out.
Oh, absolutely.
But as far as pre-tension goes, I'd say Hobbs is going to be the pre-tension king.
I would have to agree.
I don't think anything else we're going to do is going to beat that, but let's check and find out. All right, we're going to do the same thing here with the GRCS. We're just going to pull and pull and pull and pull until it can't pull no more. And we'll see what we end up with on the load cell. Come on, GP, you got it in ya. You got it.
it.
That's it? What does that load cell say?
2960.
2,960 pounds.
That's amazing, man.
That's incredible too. Still not on the Hobbs level. You're definitely 1,000 pounds over safe working load limit, so that's questionable.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I did that without the visor plate or being notched into the tree.
Yeah, man.
It's just rubber pads on the bark there. That's quite impressive. I think it's probably worth noting that the last time I did a test like this with the GRCS, I was on the crank and my 160 pounds was only able to get to like 2,000 pounds. So a key component is having somebody like Ground Pounder on your crew. So whenever you want to do some heavy lifting, just call him up, send him a message on Instagram, something like that, and you know, he'll come help you out. I'm gonna get this knot out. That's crazy. I thought this was gonna be an axe knot. There we go, folks. Bowling for the win. Look at that, 4,000 pounds on that knot. It came out like that. I'm mighty impressed. Just to make sure we do thorough testing, we're gonna test the winch on Greg Brown's bollard. It is a 1,500 pound weight rated winch, so we're really not anticipating much more than that. When a winch has rope all wound up on a drum, it decreases mechanical advantage, so we're gonna see with that drum full, because we've got all the rope inside the winch now, what it comes out to. Of course, Ground Pounder, he equals another 15% on everything.
I could go a little more.
Yeah, well, it says 17, 18. What's it say there?
2,034.
2,034 pounds.
That's bouncing around. We got a little bit of slippage going on.
Yeah, yeah. It is creeping ever so slightly.
Yep.
Still, that's really good. I mean, for a 1,500 pound rated winch,
We just put out 2,000 pounds.
yeah, yeah. Ground Pounder, you're not allowed to run any of my stuff anymore because you make it all go way over. Well, folks, we got everything off the tree here, and as you can see, the tree is not torn up. There's no bark removed. There's no bark that's stripped off and exposing the cambium. There's even snow on the tree still, though that really has no bearing on anything. I just thought that was funny. But no damage to tree. I'm quite impressed that we were able to, one, produce those forces, but two, produce them without cutting a notch in a tree, without putting a visor plate on a GRCS or anything like that. We had the spike protector out, and we had those mats for the Hobbs and for some of those bollards. They did slide up, and there is just a tiny little mark here in the bark. That is not damaging to the tree. That's the purpose of the bark, is to be able to absorb small impacts and stuff like that. If that was cut into the cambium, or if that had loosened some bark, that would be a serious problem for the tree. But the tree's gonna keep on growing without even knowing that that happened. I am really impressed with how those devices performed today. I hope you found that information valuable. I certainly did. I think you still can't take and compare all those devices directly. They each have their strong points and their weak points, but seeing those numbers towards the end there was just super interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you thank Ground Pounder in the comments for coming all the way down from Michigan. He drove 6.5 hours to come make this video with me and to bring all that stuff with him. Also, make sure you thank Greg Brown. He's a creator of some of that stuff, and it's just really cool to see other guys making stuff that we're using and not some big old giant company. So I'm gonna put Ground Pounder's YouTube and Instagram channel in the link below or in the description. Wow, I'm getting tired. So sorry. I'm gonna put YouTube and Instagram stuff in the link below if you want to follow either Greg Brown or Ground Pounder. Go check them out. They're super cool guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.